So I did want to mention this. Did you get a letter from the city about potential lead in your pipes?
I got a letter from the city that dealt something with water. I thought it was one of those letters that talked about how if you're a homeowner, how like the pipes under your house to the street, how you're responsible for those. That's what I thought the letter I got was.
That's probably a different letter.
Yeah, that's the one I got.
Unless that's a letter that says you are in charge, you're responsible for those, because they had to go do a big survey. Did you get one, Pablo? You're in Glendale, right? No, you're Phoenix, right? You're Phoenix.
I did not get one yet.
You didn't get one?
No.
So I guess they're sending out these letters to a lot of people. Phoenicians will be getting letters saying, don't worry, we tested your pipes.
No lead.
And we don't see any lead, but we have to do something about the not lead.
Yeah,
so
that's
confusing.
not very comforting.
No, not at all. So what happened is the EPA, after what happened in Flint, Michigan, and Flint was just a disaster. There's so much more to that story, but it has to do with gross mismanagement where Flint decided to get cheaper water, and then their pipes were trash, and it's just, listen, there are a lot of places across the country that put their infrastructure in 100+ years ago.
And didn't do anything to maintain it and keep it up.
Well, in many cases, it was buried, so it was very difficult to do that anyway. And so you're hearing stories of water main bursts, right? We hear water main bursts periodically.
Water all over, yeah.
Yeah, and a lot of that's because pipes are 100 years old. They're made of lead. They start to deteriorate, and then kablooey. Surprise, actually, is way ahead of the game. The story from AZ Central identified Surprise as their waterline system is made of PVC.
Minimal kablooey out there.
Ductile iron, exactly. And they said those materials, they don't pose a health risk, so you don't have to worry about that, except microplastics, but we'll figure that out in the next few decades. Right now, it's the lead that we're worried about. Because we know that lead, as you may know from people who eat pink chips, lead is detrimental to your physical and mental health. And that's what ended up happening with people in Flint. So the EPA, in response, wanted to make sure that we're not going to have a bunch of lead poisoning issues all around the country. And so everybody needs to test their pipes. And so the Phoenix Water Department started sending letters out to everybody. Glendale has to start sending letters out to 2,000 of the city water customers.
That they're testing the water.
That the lead material status of their service is categorized as unknown. So this is after the tests come back. So what happens is they run these tests and they find out there's some galvanized pipe in there.
Okay.
That's not giving you lead stuff, but there's concerns about the galvanized, this sort of thing. There's other ones that they say, we ran the testing and it came back indeterminate. So they have to send a letter saying we can't verify that there's not lead.
If I have a water softener, does that help at all, or does that do nothing?
Probably, yeah.
Probably helps or does nothing?
Probably helps, yeah. It would help filter, anyway, some of the minerals, and I'm not an expert on this.
No.
I couldn't tell you. Does Gatos endorses Connecticut? Can he does Connecticut fix everything for us if we just do that?
I think they would fix everything for him.
Oh, okay. That's what we need to work on.
And for those with Connecticut.
So, same situation in Scottsdale. Scottsdale doesn't have any lead pipes, but they had some that were unknown. We can't verify that they're not lead. Therefore, residents in Scottsdale getting letters this week as well.
Okay.
So, in Arizona, we have not had lead pipes installed since the 80s. And EPA, they did a lead and copper pipe rule that they put into place in the early 90s. So we are talking about antiquated infrastructure here that over time can deteriorate, can dissolve, and now all of a sudden you end up with the lead infusion.
So you're telling me that I probably should be at least a little up to speed on this because my house was built in the late 60s.
Yeah, which means also everything that went in on your street was put in at that time,
correct,
too. Yeah. So one of the issues that Phoenix is having, as well as some of these other cities, is that while they didn't have lead pipes per se, they had some galvanized pipes. And galvanized steel is kind of a lead alternate thing. I don't want to get too much into the metallurgy of it. But the galvanized pipes, they say, pose a risk to human health because the zinc coating corrodes over time, potentially leaching lead particles into the galvanized service line. Now, is there an issue? No. There is really no reason for you to freak out right now.
It's kind of a CYA by them, isn't it?
Absolutely. It is the city or the water servicers that are making sure they're compliant with the EPA. And there may have to be some upgrades. Upgrades to water lines are not cheap.
No.
And if they have to do the upgrades, guess who's going to pay for that?
Us.
And guess who already doesn't have any money?
The cities.
You got it.
Yeah. And that's why those letters also go out, like the one I got.
That says, we're not responsible for that stuff from the street to your place. That's your problem.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's underground, and it's under your house, so it's on you, which is why you might want to pay that, it's like $10 or $20 a month or a year to buy that separately contracted service to cover it if it breaks.
That's the insurance that they're trying to sell you.
Exactly.
Right. Okay, that's the letter you got.
Yeah.
All right, that didn't have to do with the lead pipe. That has to do with the insurance on the crap breaking.
Yeah, more like the water main breaks, things like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and I know I've seen cities do that before too, and I've always passed on that because I thought, I'll just pay for it. If it happens, I'll file a homeowner's claim. Right?
That was my attitude.
I always felt like it was an extortion thing by the city.
I did sign up for it this past year.
Did you?
Because I heard that it could be like $30,000 to $40,000.
Holy cow!
Yeah, I had a neighbor who said it is incredibly expensive.
Wow.
And if you go with the insurance, you're covered.
Sure.
And if you don't, it is ridiculously expensive. And
wow.
And
it's a new car.
I've heard it is very, very expensive if anything goes wrong with those pipes.
What if we were to, how old? You said the pipes were put in the 60s?
Well, my house was built in the late 60s, so I would assume the pipes went in around the same time.
Do you want an accident?
No.
We could have an accident.
I do not want an accident.
If you got the pipes replaced now, you wouldn't have to buy insurance for it in the future because you got new pipes.
But I already bought the insurance.
I know. It'll pay for it if there's an accident. You're not thinking this through.
No.
Do you not know how insurance works?
Well, I did see that story.
Pablo,
that's going to come up in the valley.
I know there might be an accident in my house.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Do you need an accident?
Yes.
I would hate for something to happen.
Oh, man. That would
be really terrible. Yeah.
Are you going to wear like a costume like those guys did in, where was it, California?
California, the bear costume?
Yeah. We're going to talk about that in a few.
Oh, did you put that in the volley?
Yeah.
That's a good one. I like that. This is what happens when you grow up privileged.
Privileged?
When you grow up poor like us, you're always trying to figure out, how do I save a buck? And if I got to pay for it, how do I get the most out of it, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's exactly what you do.
Hold on. So you're trying to cheat the system.
It's funny, from the guy that went and got a free Father's Day meal because he's a
cat dad.
He's accusing us of cheating the system simply because we paid for the insurance. We're going to use it.
It's not cheating if it was an accident. That's what insurance is there for.
It was an accident.
But if you're asking for an accident, aren't you almost bringing it on?
Oh, Joe, I'm just making sure you have insurance in case there's an accident. I mean, Pablo and I might go pickaxe shopping this weekend, and we might need to test it somewhere. We just wanted to make sure that if we tested it at your place, you were covered.
Pablo's house, please.
Yeah, no, we're definitely testing it at Pablo's house.
You do the pick side.
That's the fun side. I like the pick side better.
Okay, all right, cool.
Yeah, that's very good. So anyway, what we're hearing is, don't sweat. The Assistant Water Services Director, Jim Swanson, says, out of an abundance of caution, we're sending the letters. We're going to do this work, but we don't feel like this is a systemic issue for the city of Phoenix. So we're confident moving forward, the water quality will continue to meet or exceed the standards of the EPA. It will still be incredibly hard water that will dry out your skin and leave your hair flaking.
That's why I want one of those water softeners.
But it's not going to have lead in it. You're fine on that.
That's good.
Unless you're Gatos and you've got that beautiful Connecticut head of hair. God, I'm jealous.
Thanks for watching The Chris and Joe Show. Click to see more from Chris and Joe and tap the button in the middle to subscribe to KTAR News.